7:16. So we avoided falling off the proverbial fiscal cliff. Last night's late vote prevents tax increases for more than 98% of Americans. It also wards off $110 billion in automatic cuts to domestic and military spending. But there are more fights to be had over money for lawmakers here in 2013 when the new Congress convenes on Thursday. Joe Krier, president of Krier Wealth Management, our financial expert, back here to talk about those overnight developments. Joe, first of all, happy New Year.
Same to you.
Have you here. Make no bones about it. This is just a Band-Aid. And you know what? When you rip a Band-Aid off, sometimes there's pain. There's more to be had.
Yeah, it was an opportunity to maybe do something bigger. They were calling it a potential grand bargain, but essentially you're right. Even the spending cuts were kicked only 60 days down the road, so that's not much. And everything else was held status quo unless you're making more than $400,000 a year.
And people sit back and they go, okay, I'm exempt because I don't make anywhere near that. But the reality is we're all going to have to pay more in some way, shape, or form, including like 2% that involves Social Security and some other entitlement packages.
Yeah, the payroll tax is going up. It never really was on the table. That was a break that was given about 2 years ago to help the economy through the worst of the recession. And now it's going up to 6.2. So for the average taxpayer, that's going to be about $40 a paycheck that's coming out of there. And then we've got the affordable care taxes, that's better known as Obamacare. There's a lot of taxpayers that are going to end up paying a little bit more to fund that new program.
I read one article this morning, and basically a lot of employers are sitting back saying, whoa, we're going to take the heat for this, but don't blame us.
Yeah, and depending on how you slice and dice this, it seems to go more towards small business owners than to corporate America. But, corporations and small business owners alike have been holding off on hiring new people because they weren't sure exactly how this was going to play out. Now it's kind of played out, not necessarily in their favor, so it remains to be seen if we'll start to see some hiring getting kicked off here.
With the way this all panned out, do you see this as a win for the Obama administration and Democrats?
Oh, definitely. This is politically, the Republicans saw that if this didn't go through, it was going to be placed squarely on their shoulders. So they almost had no choice if they wanted to stay in the game at all, but to push it through. So they pushed it through, and they kind of complained about spending, and they said, wait a minute, we've got a debt ceiling debate coming up, we've got other debates coming up, and we're going to draw the hard line here.
All right, now the big issues that confront Congress next are the budget, the debt ceiling itself, the sequestration issue on the funding cuts, and also the continuing budget resolution. This is not going to be easy to hammer out. Yeah,
I think that particularly with the desperation that we see the Republican Party in right now, they've got to draw the hard line. And they all campaigned on the fact that they wanted a balanced budget going forward and that they're going to pay down the debt. I think they're going to step up to the plate and fight that pretty hard. If they don't agree on a debt ceiling increase, for instance, we can get to the point where the government starts not sending out paychecks and where they shut things down. And that's one of their only leverage pieces left. So I think they're going to play it pretty hard.
And Marco Rubio made no bones about it. He came out and said he was against this deal, doesn't think it's good for America. He's part of the Tea Party Republicans, and they're ready, I think, to play hardball. Let me ask you about another thing that did not get passed. The whole issue of $60 billion in funding to help the people who were victimized by Sandy. Is there a message in there for Floridians?
I think there is. That was kind of a no-brainer to pass, but when we got to the point where they pushed through the fiscal cliff bill, they just said, no, we're not even going to consider any other spending. So it's $60 billion that was going to go help people. If you don't have insurance, I think you need to take a message from this, because the feds are saying, no, we're not going to bail out everybody that takes a storm hit. And obviously we're capable of as many storm hits as anybody.
Absolutely, and storm season begins in earnest in another 6 months, so it's a reality to get our ducks in order now. Joe Krier, always a pleasure. Appreciate you being here.